Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Cinemachazzy yet again. And today is going to be a literal sequel, see what I did there? A sequel to the last Cinemachazzy that I did reviewing a Goofy movie back in 1995. And today I'm going to be reviewing the literal sequel to that, the standalone sequel to it, which is, of course, you know it, you love it, or at least you should love it, an extremely goofy movie. Released back in the year 2000, 5 years after the first one. And honestly, man, I have a much bigger contact with this movie than the original, you know, because when I talked about the original, you know, in that other review of mine, it was very nostalgic to me because I saw it a lot in my childhood, you know, but an extremely goofy movie seems to have had a bigger effect because I've watched it much more and I have seen it solely in English, you know, compared to the other one, a goofy movie which I saw a lot of times dubbed in Portuguese as a kid, you know. I think I've only seen it less than a handful of times in English, you know, so like I remember many more details about an extremely goofy movie, even though it's been several years since I've seen that movie and even more so the original, you know. But I just want to tackle both of them here because as you guys should have noticed by now, I should be pretty deep into my Disneyland Adventures playlist at this point, you know, playing all those through the park and the areas and meeting the different characters. So I'm on a roll talking about Disney, doing Disney related content here, and this is another one of them. So now, because this was a straight to video, you know, sequel, it was a straight to video release, you know, and home video release, I don't have the information of how much it costs to make. I don't know about the budget and how much it grossed, because I don't think you really count grosses for domestic home releases, so that's not going to show up on screen, but I will give you guys more detail. You know, we do have the return of course, the legendary Bill Farmer voicing Goofy and James Marsden voicing Max, you know, considerably older now, and it's really cool how the dynamic plays out because the story now is, it takes place a few years after last movie. So Max now is a freshman in college, you know, he enrolls there and he feels good, you know, it feels good to get away from his goofy dad. Kind of like a pun there, you know, his goofy dad, whose name is also Goofy, but you know, and he likes the freedom. He goes with his friends PJ and sorry, I have to look this up, I forgot the other guy's name, Bobby, you know. They go to college in their van, you know, and it feels really good to get away from home. But then Max realizes that Goofy enrolled in the same college to get his degree, you know, so hijinks ensues, you know, father and son on campus together, you know, he embarrasses him, this and that, and eventually, you know, they're trying to participate in the X Games, the skating, a different like sports triathlon or something, you know. And you know, they eventually have to go up against this competing dynasty, this competing fraternity, let's say, in the college. And then as the movie goes on, you get to discover more details about it. I know it's like this whole conspiracy theory, and that's basically a summation of the plot, you know. I'm going to get into more details now, and honestly, man, this movie is just iconic, you know. Of course, the first one itself also was, but I don't know, there's something about the sequel that, because normally sequels suck, you know, especially when they take so many years to come out, but it was only 5 years and it was a Disney animated feature, so to me it just had such a big impact, you know. The original movie eventually developed a cult following, and I think this one did too, you know, because it shows Goofy as much more limber and funnier, you know. It seems that the filmmakers really knew how to make Goofy his own individual standalone character, and this movie had character development in spades. Before I talk a little bit about the plot, let me show you guys a clip here from this traditional Disney classic. Why traditional? Just nah.
Did you brush your teeth? Yeah, Dad. Comb your hair? Oh, yep. Did you put on clean underwear? Dad. Ooh, gotta go. But Max. Going already?
Yeah, I gotta get there early for freshman orientation, Dad. See ya.
Well, what about breakfast? You need your 3 squares a day, you know.
Don't worry, we'll pick up some donuts on the way. Love you, miss you, see you Christmas, bye.
Don't forget to have some milk with those donuts.
God, I love this movie so much, man. I'm pretty sure I've told you guys that Goofy is my favorite Disney character in the last review, right? Talking about a Goofy movie, you know. I don't know, he's just so relatable to me, but at the same time, he also makes me so sad, you know, because Goofy is a very innocent, kind of dim-witted, very good-hearted character, so it's really easy to make him sad, and so it's easy for him to make you sad as well, but maybe that's just me. I don't know, I have a really big heart and I'm really mushy. Anyway, I'll try to give a quick summation of the plot here, you know. So basically what happens is that you know, Max finally goes off to college with his buddies, you know, they get to campus and they start skating around and impressing, you know, a few people. Then he meets Bradley Uppercrust III, who is kind of like the head honcho of the Gamma Mu Mu fraternity, you know, who are essentially like the main fraternity there on campus, you know, and they have a dynasty going back to many years where they have won pretty much every single X Games since the beginning, as Bradley himself puts it, you know. They want to recruit Max, but he doesn't want to because, you know, they don't want his friends, they don't want PJ and Bobby, they just want Max. So he's like, nope, it's either all three of us, or I think he does say it's either all three of us or none of me. And of course that doesn't sit well with Gamma Mu Mu, you know, so immediately it creates a rift between them, you know, and there is a rivalry already. They're blossoming, you know, just it comes out of the adversity and hearsay of the people who do the thing inside of the fraternities and college and this stuff, and I have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. Anyway, meanwhile, all the way back in... Do they still live in Ohio? I'm pretty sure it's back in Ohio. Wherever the hell they live, you know. Goofy he gets very distracted at work because he keeps seeing his son everywhere, you know, because he misses him after he went to college. And then he unfortunately causes a chain reaction that leads to a disastrous accident at work that blows up, I think, a power generator or something, you know. He gets fired, then he has to go to look for another job. But at the unemployment office, he actually is told that he can't get another job because he doesn't have a college degree. So because he dropped out in the 1970s during his junior year, he actually has to go back and finish senior year. He has to do, or not even senior year, just go back and I think get enough credits to graduate so he can actually get a well-paying job. And of course he enrolls at Max's college because why the hell not? You know, where else would he enroll, you know? And then I love the scene so much where Max is in the classroom sitting there, you know, and Goofy just bursts in with this huge wig and goes, "Yuck, hi everybody," and Max is like, "Ah!" And then immediately everybody starts laughing, you know, he sits next to him, you know, and then I do believe you don't see the wig yet. He takes off this little hat and that's when the wig just boom pops up, you know. Not even a wig, it's an afro, sorry, it's a freaking huge afro, and he goes, "Oh, yeah, he's my son." And then everybody starts making fun of him and laughing, you know. Then they have a little conversation, we find out what's going on. But anyway, one thing leads to another, you know, and eventually they have the tryouts for the I do believe it's the different little yeah, they have this little bet, the Gamma Mu Mu and Max's team, you know, where the loser becomes the other's towel boy. And so Max wants to get rid of his dad, so he introduces him to the librarian, you know, Sylvia Marble, I think so, yes, Sylvia Marple rather, you know. And then because she's a big fan of 1970s stuff, you know, they have a lot of common, they hit it off, and eventually they start dating, blah, 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 blah. So then we actually get to the tryouts, you know, the actual competition, you know. And the thing is that Max is trying to impress everybody with his skating, but Goofy accidentally, you know, being all clumsy and stuff, he actually gets on the skateboard and pulls off a few really cool moves. He impresses Bradley, and he gets recruited to Gamma Mu Mu to go up against Max, you know. So anyway, Max does encourage him to join anyway because he wants to get rid of him, you know. However, in the first qualifier for the X Games, you know, Bradley actually cheats, you know. He blinds Max with this little pocket mirror thing, you know, and then he gets bad points and this and that. And then actually, I do believe this is what happens. No, I think I got my wands crossed here. First, Goofy accidentally does something, you know. Then Max encourages him to join the Gamma Mu Mu. Then during this qualifying thing, you know, Bradley puts a rocket in Goofy's skateboard and he does a bunch of really crazy stunts and stuff, you know, that impresses everybody, and he qualifies for the semifinals, which Max and his team does, but they barely do it. They barely qualify. Max is really peeved at his dad, you know. They have a little bit of a falling out, you know. He tells him to stay out of his life, you know, in a very sad moment in the movie, you know, and you know, this and that. Goofy eventually, in the beginning, he actually initially pesters them, trying to make them do chores and stuff, you know, and keeps embarrassing Max in front of people here and there. But once he starts dating Sylvia and focuses more on X Games, you know, he kind of leaves them alone. Then at one point, he gets a little depressed. He misses a date with Sylvia, you know, he flunks a test, you know. Then eventually he bounces back and studies, you know, in this really awesome montage, you know, in this song called "Knocking on Wood" by Carmen Carter. You know, I love that song so much. The movie has a really good soundtrack, but this is probably my favorite song in it, you know. So There's a really cool disco dance sequence when they're in a club, you know, dancing, and Goofy pulls out his traditional white suit. It's a classic white suit, you know, where he's dancing to Shake Your Groove thing, you know. It's really nice. It's a really cool sequence, you know, and that's kind of like the high point of the movie before he gets all depressed. He eventually finds out that Gamma Moo Moo is cheating, you know. This is actually after he quits, you know, he leaves, you know, he doesn't want any part of it anymore, so they kick him out. Then he comes back and overhears a conversation talking about cheating. He tries to warn Max. Max, of course, doesn't listen, just blows him off, you know. But in the final competition, Bradley does openly cheat. He blasts PJ, you know, out of the arena, you know, with the rocket to his skateboard. So then they are one short. Then Goofy eventually comes back and they reconcile, you know, and now he joins Max's team, you know, to go up against Gamma Moo Moo. And of course, you know, in the finals, Bradley continues to cheat, and you know, it's actually I'm kind of reading a little directly from the source, you know, but as far as I remember, you know, he actually knocks out, Goofy manages to knock out Bradley with a horseshoe, you know. There's a little bit of a minor plot point in the movie about Goofy throwing horseshoes, you know, and focusing and hitting the target correctly. He eventually goes back home after temporarily leaving college, and his neighbor Pete tries to give him a pep talk, you know, you know, Pete from the original movie, who was his coworker, now was his neighbor, and Goofy manages to hit the horseshoe and says, "Yes, it was it. I lost my focus, but now I'm focused again, and I can go back to college," and this and that. And he goes back, and that was before this whole crazy thing happened. I'm sorry if it's getting confusing, guys. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, and the memories are coming back to me differently, you know. Anyway, Goofy becomes a celebrity on campus, you know, and that's when this competition happens. And then there's a series of accidents that leads to this huge, I think it's a blimp or something, or like a building. Let me read directly from the source here. Okay, it is the wreckage of a logo comes down and actually traps one of the characters who's Tank, you know, Bradley's second in command. Goofy and Max are going to win the race, but they actually go back to rescue Tank, you know, and help him cross the finish line after Bradley just goes through, you know, not caring at all for his friend, you know. And of course, you know, they go on to win the competition, you know. And Gamma Moo Moo is, I think, disqualified or something, you know, as it says here, you know. But anyway, eventually Bradley does try to show good sportsmanship, but unfortunately Max just says, you know what, no, never mind. He calls off the bet, and then Tank actually grabs him, you know, and just chucks him up into the blimp that just explodes and goes into oblivion, you know. Anyway, so the movie eventually ends with Goofy getting his college degree and also the trophy, you know. The grand prize trophy for the thing, you know. And then he gives it to Max, and then he kind of like has a little joke with him, you know. He says, "I'm actually going to go back to college and stay there closer to you, you know, move to campus," but he was just playing around. Then he and Sylvia drive off into the sunset, you know, and Max is all happy and stuff, you know. And that's pretty much it, man. God, I really butchered the details, man. That was all over the damn place. But that is a basic plot point. There were a few more details here, but I just wanted to sum it up. And now I'm going to take a deep breath here and now show you guys another clip from the movie before I continue.
Hey, Max, is my vision blurred, or does that guy look like your dad?
Maxie! Kill me, just kill me now! Hey, Maxie! Looks like you and me are gonna be classmates! He's my son! Daddy's little baby couldn't be alone.
Now, this movie here actually was very well praised by many different sources, and as a matter of fact, Rotten Tomatoes, which is just notorious for giving very critical movie reviews, you know, and sometimes it's like they will be very, very unforgiving, and they actually rated this one at 63% out of 8 reviews, which makes it one of the very few Disney sequels that was actually rated better than the predecessor, you know, so it's a pretty big deal, man. And a lot of the praise was directed towards the father and son dynamic, you know, which is a trope that is very negatively explored in different aspects, you know, and also this movie came out 5 years after the previous one, so since then, at least in this area of technology, you know, movie making improved a lot more, the animation techniques, so this movie looked much better, you know. It was very fluidly animated, the backgrounds looked so rich and detailed, you know, it just had a much better aesthetic. There was this specific character called the Beret Girl who actually dates PJ for a while, you know. She was also very praised as well, and it was just, everything about the movie just seemed very charming, you know. not as wholesome and innocent as the first one, but also it's a little bit more mature because we get to see Max now going through college life, you know, so there are a few more mature themes here and there, but it is still very, very nice to watch. You know, it's fun for the whole family and portrays Goofy in a much more positive light than before, you know, because in the first movie he was a lot more just like of a clumsy, caring dad, and now he's a little bit more mature. You know, we see him dealing, you know, with a little bit of depression and, you know, deep sadness, and he falls into a slump, then comes back. You know, the montage sequence where he's studying and training physically, you know, to get in shape and also study more for his upcoming final, you know, with Sylvia, it is so inspirational to me. You know, it just shows that the filmmakers really knew what they were doing with this character here. You know, like I said before, the character development, you know, is just like, it's a highlight of this movie because we see the characters having different relationships with each other, you know, and it's a roller coaster, you know, because as always, as it was in the first movie, and as I'm sure it was in the animated series Goof Troop, you know, Max and Goofy have these ups and downs. It's like a roller coaster, you know. They're okay with each other, then they're upset, then they're okay, then they're upset, they reconcile, they become close again, you know. So I really enjoy that in this movie. I like the way that it was animated. There are a few really cool pop culture references. You know, there was this thing like there are movie parodies, like when they did the Goof Father, you know, based on the Godfather, the Goofinator from the Terminator, and then Pulp Fiction 2, which comes from Pulp Fiction, you know. So it's really nice, and there are a few subtle like fourth wall breaking jabs, like they make fun of the characters always wearing gloves, for example, you know, which is kind of like an inside joke that has been going on in the Disney industry for decades now, you know. So I think it was really nice. Just all of these different references, you know, their adherence to 70s culture, you know, and the songs, the soundtrack too, like new age covers of old 70s songs. That was really cool as well. Depicting college life, you know, the campus lifestyle, the day-to-day routines, you know, and actually being there on campus in the college dormitories. I thought that was really cool as well. I just think the movie has so many layers, you know, and there are a few things here as well, you know. Basically, it's like here is what is this? Oh yes, Naples Daily News, right? They said that, you know, it kind of, she dismissed the movie a little bit for showing different behavior that she wasn't a fan of, you know, like for example, the immature, quote, right, the immature behavior of the college students as well as the dysfunctional relationship between Max and Goofy, you know, and she considers there to be a depressing, humorless plot where the adults are no smarter than the kids, you know, but still, I liked it a lot, you know. I think that the animation was very sophisticated, you know. Of course, the movie itself isn't as serious as the other theatrical releases of the time because, like I said, it was straight to home video, so I still enjoyed it a lot. And honestly, dude, if I had to give this movie a rating, which I forgot to do in the other Goofy movie for some reason, I forgot to rate it at the end. This one I will not make the same mistake. If I had to give this movie a rating, I would of course give it a damn 10 out of 10. Okay, there is no doubt at all where that was going. The original Goofy movie as well, a 10 out of 10. I forgot to say it in that video, so I'm gonna say it here. Both of these movies deserve a damn 10 out of 10 because I love them both so much. There's really nothing that I can say about it, you know, because it's just a timeless classic for me, you know. Like the story plays out very simply. It's very easy to follow, but it's just so direct, you know. It's a very linear story, you know. The plot points are very fleshed out, in my opinion, you know. It shows us these competitive college fraternities going at each other's necks and trying to see who's better, you know. We get to see a few different I do believe that the vast majority of what we see is related to skating. I thought that there was kind of like a decathlon of sorts where there's also biking. I'm pretty sure there is also biking and scooters or other sports, you know, but the main focus of the X Games are skating, you know, so it's nice to see a little bit of that if you're into skating culture, you know. So that's essentially what I would say about the movie, you know. Killer soundtrack, amazing, great drop dead gorgeous animation, you know, really good character development. It just blows me out of the water, or rather blows me out of the skate park, as Bradley did a few times, right, with the characters. Let's take a look at another clip here before I continue.
And a huge triple flip on the corner pipe. 50-50 glide uphill to a flip transfer.
Wow!
Oh, on a lip side to a hand plant. Whoa, Nelly! And skating with the speed of a cheetah, that is going to be time for Goofy. Oh, what a show!
Okay, now you see the movie. Damn it, why does that keep happening? What is that? That happened also in the Goofy movie when I was reviewing that. I don't know what that is, but anyway, so there are a few really good moral lessons to be learned while watching this flick, you know. Basic things like, taking education seriously and not cheating and, striving to achieve your goals, like not giving up. So I actually think that, highlighting the importance of education was a really important factor, This movie actually inspired me a lot when I was still in high school, and also a little bit of college, Whenever I came back to it to watch, it inspired me to study and get good grades in my own tests, So like I said before, the training montage with Knock on Wood playing, by Carmen, I can watch that sequence today and get inspired to do anything. It's just freaking crazy, And there were a few, the movie itself won the award for Best Animated Home Video Production, and also Bill Farmer was unsurprisingly, nominated for Best Voice Acting by a Male Performer, and this happened at the 28th Annie Awards in 2000, so there was a little bit of a controversy, because following the September 11 attacks in 2001, there was a moment of censorship there at the end, the final sequence where the accident happens, where Goofy and Max, they Goofy rescues Max and then Tank from the burning X Games logo, and that structure, burning and falling down and trapping somebody, was removed from television broadcast of the film because it kind of it was very similar to what happened in the 9/11 attacks, where people were trapped under the burning rubble and all that, so in all other versions of the movie, that scene is still there, but just in TV broadcast, it was completely, the broadcast version skips over that and just shows them skating out of the wreckage, which honestly, I mean, I understand that you're trying to make it more appropriate as the 9/11 attacks were bad, but it's so unrelated, man. It came out before anyway. So I really like this movie, I love it so much, and honestly, dude, it just this review might have come off a little bit more serious than the other one, but I love this movie so much. I take it much more seriously than the first one, because it did have more serious themes, and it's just more out there, it's more out there, I like it. And obviously there was never a third sequel and after 22 years, I don't think there will ever be one, it might go straight to a streaming platform, This movie was actually one of the first ones to premiere on Disney Plus at its launch, when that streaming service was released, so yes, it was also released on Blu-ray, as a Disney Movie Club exclusive alongside the original. This was back in 2019. So yes, if you have Disney Plus, you can watch both movies. They're on there, Once I get Disney Plus, whenever that happens, I'm definitely gonna watch both of them again because, God, man, this is just my childhood, Extremely Goofy movie was more like my adolescency, my pre-adolescency, but it still rings true from my childhood. I've been watching a lot of Disney's House of Mouse, and seeing Goofy there in those old-timey cartoons just harkens back to my childhood. But anyway, guys, that's it for now, okay? I'm gonna wrap this up here. If you have never seen an Extremely Goofy movie, or the first one for that matter, well, you gave yourself a bunch of spoilers. I don't even, there's no reason to even announce spoilers here because, it's always so obvious because it's a review, And stay tuned to the end because I'm going to show you guys the end screen, one of which will be the original Goofy movie, and eventually when I upload it, Disney's House of Mouse as well, I'm going to review that on Cinemachazzy. So just stay tuned to the very end, After I say roll the outro screen, there's going to actually be an outro screen, so yes. My analytics show that you guys don't stay for the outro screen, so make sure to stay on that and click on the next video that you want to watch and just keep it going, binge watch all of my videos, do a Chazzy marathon to help me grow. And speaking of helping me grow, if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single day. And while you're at it, hit the notification bell to know exactly what time I upload. And it's all good for today, guys. Oh, yep. This is Chazzy. Look, this is Chazzy. The hell? What happened to my voice? Uh-oh. Okay, let me finish this before it gets worse. This is Chazzy, signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Roll the outro screen.
I'm really gonna miss you, Dad. I'm sure it was rough for us at the start, but, well, it turned out to be a pretty cool thing. You here at college with me. But now it's over, and we'll go on with our own lives and...
You didn't tell him yet?
Didn't tell me what?
Well, I wanted to surprise him. Son, guess what? I got me a job right here on campus.
But you...
So I could be close to you.
But I thought that you were... You told me you were gonna...
Just kidding. Oh.